Distinguished ladies and gentlemen and lovers of living television, you're welcome to our program today, Issues of the Moment. Issues of the Moment is your regular current affairs program that deals with the happenstances in Abia and Nigeria in general. And today in the Issues of the Moment, we are looking at the relocation of Abia mechanics and automotive part dealers to the new place in Obingwa local government area. Let it be known, and let us also remember that on the 21st day of December 2023, the Deputy Governor of Abia State, Engineer Ikechukwu Emeto, announced government's intention to relocate Abia mechanics and also auto parts dealers to industrial layout in Ovom in Obingwa local government area. These has taken place after about a year, and it looks as if the implementation came to bear. And too many things has happened since then. The bone of contention is the amount that these mechanics, roadside mechanics, are asked to pay to get access to the new place. And this we'll be looking at today, and also the people they are using as the task force. We will want to get to the PPRO of Abia State and the Nigerian police to know the major functions of RRS. These and many more we'll be looking at today. I remain your anchor man. From my far right, from my immediate right, I have Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi is a historian, he's a public affairs analyst, and also a media person. Above all, he's a televangelist. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Moderator. Good day, viewers. Moderator will not always want to miss that part of being a televangelist. It's nice to be here.
All right, and by my left, I have another wonderful person you'll always want to listen to and hear from. That is, we call him generally democracy, and that is Honorable Tony Abanyem. Honorable Tony Abanyem is a journalist and also a media person, a public affairs analyst as well, and also public affairs analyst, like I said earlier. Democracy, you're welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Prof. And our viewers out there. Thank you for being there for us.
All right. All of us are aware, because we are all Abians and activists in this state. We are aware of the recent happening between the government and the Abia mechanics and the auto part motor dealers in Abia, and their relocation at Vom Obingwa recently. And then, why are we discussing this today? Recently, we discovered that they have their task force as members of the RRS, and one of us also, his vehicle was impounded and taken to the police station, and then not the mechanic himself. The mechanic was arrested and the vehicle taken. I want to start with you, Comrade. Has the Abia State House of Assembly enacted a law concerning this?
Not to my knowledge so far. Yes, although we understand that states have powers to issue guidelines, which may have to do with governance or governing itself. But I'm not aware of any state law that is saying this. But I'm aware it's a policy of the state government under Governor Alex Oti, because the announcement was made, and we also are aware that before now, a structure was being raised by during the last administration of Governor Okezie Ikpeazu to effect a policy like this. What I think should be paramount is this: when you are making laws or when you are making policies, they should have human face. Human face in the sense that they are not as if they are harmful, or they are not likely to be perceived as or misconstrued as being anti-poor instead of pro-poor. So what I think should be here is the needed conversation. Did we have that conversation? Did we have that dialogue? Did we even make it participatory? For one, if I am to be in the government and I want to effect a policy like this, what I would do first is enumeration. Because it is just a different thing. It is one thing telling these mechanics to go to a particular designated place. It's another thing knowing whether their population or their number can actually be contained there. You understand what I'm saying now? So it's enough, because this exercise should have been preceded by maybe enumeration or maybe profiling or maybe even capturing who are mechanics. I understand what the government wants to achieve, because virtually in the city centers in Abia, you go some places, you see cupboard, you see a lot of things coming from the mechanic workshops. But I believe if you want to do a thing like this, they should have a union. You liaise with their union, you deliberate, and then carry out a policy that should be seamless. And I do not know the reason for using the police. I don't want to even talk about the special branch of the police which has been used to effect a thing like this. If there is already a task force in Niger State, and then if this is already a policy which I think citizens should be communicated to understand. Thank you.
All right, democracy, you know the topic we're discussing. In fact, it is something that is making a wave right now in Abia State. The roadside mechanics and other mechanics and the auto parts dealers, everybody's talking about that. They are not just talking about this relocation. They are talking about the amount they are asked to pay. And then how can a main mechanic, roadside mechanic, afford 500,000? Talk less of about 1 million naira as we learned.
Well, whatever that is worth doing is worth doing well. I will advise this government of Abia State led by Dr. Alex Oti to be a populist one, to be a people-oriented kind of government, not to choke the people, just try as much as possible to get the people breathe. These policies are good. It's done everywhere. The congestion of the town, been shouting about it, but it has to wear a human face. There should be a dialogue, like my colleague said. The problem we're having here is everybody comes into our bar and thinks that we are too busy. We have no time to talk about our rights and procedures. It's all about, give them money, pay them, never, kavajebe, all of that. That has kind of eroded the way things are done here. Just bounce around Obama and the next thing he will bring money. If had it been we are known for litigations and fighting for due process, fighting for our rights, I don't think what they do here in Abia they can't do in Owerri. What they do here in Abia, nobody can do it in Enugu or Port Harcourt or in Ibadan. But because here is Abia, where it is assumed that an Abia man is very busy, doesn't have time for negotiation. Everybody coming to do business here will always think that way. I'm not saying that the government policy of decongesting the town, trying to put businesses in their clusters, call it medicine dealers, call it telephone accessories dealers, telephone dealers, call it mechanics, food and confectionery. There should be these markets. Abba should be congested, but it should follow a due process. It should wear a human face. I don't think we know it very well. Even the governor knows that no roadside mechanic can boast of any 200,000 naira kept anywhere. Not to talk of, unless you want them to probably abandon their shops, go kidnapping or go robbing and make this money and come back to pay for those shops. Let them give it a human face. That's exactly what brought what they call the Abba mega mall that is overgrown by weeds now. That is what brought it to its knees. Greed, not following due process. The size of our bar deceives, investors. They come here and look at our bar, so developed, so large, so, the capacity, looking at it, has the capacity, and they thought that that's the amount of money we have in our pocket and in our bank account. They didn't know that our bar man toys, that woman selling agiti, that man doing vulcanizer there, we gradually, patiently, wear bedroom slippers between here and Dongwa Road. You even wear knicker to his church and his town, village meeting, managing himself, saving little money, and before you could know it, it will lead to some other thing, and the man becomes a millionaire the next day. The man they call Vote for Jesus here came to Abba as a teller, not just the real teller. After the war, from there, saved some money, started selling Gary, going to, Chi and all the rest of the place to bring food stuff into Abba. And today, he's a big man.
Even the one you call Iron Tellers.
Good and fine. So if you look at him from, looking at him now, a big man, very large, riding big vehicles, you thought that the man would fall from heaven. But started from nothing. So the problem we're having here is the overpriced and overpriced Abba. They don't put us exactly that. This is a town where everybody's an entrepreneur. We toil. and get to where we want to be. So what we're trying to say is that if the government wants this thing to be a reality, let them go back to the practice Abba Megamo started earlier before they renaged. Kind of asking the mechanics, go and get a bank guarantee. Pay in some money into those accounts as you are working, because definitely, we have bad cars here, vehicles thrown into the Atlantic Ocean and they're surfaced somewhere in Port Harcourt and brought in here. They're all bad cars. That's not how you use your car for 1 month without running to the mechanic. Definitely they will make money. Gradually, they will pay this money. And when this money, payment of these shops are completed, either in 1 year or in 10 years, then the bank will now give you the allocation papers and you own it fully. But you cannot sell it. You can be using it. You can rent it out. You can share it into two. And that's how they should do these things. Abba Megamo started this way, and all of a sudden, they thought that, because, as I dressed now, I text from my house to this place. But you've called me all manner of them, democracy, honorable, journalist, and if my village people hear it now, they'll think, this our brother is there. Only Abia, December launching. That's what investors think about Alabama. They don't know that we cover ourselves so much, we manage ourselves so much. So this narrative must be changed. Investors must know that no government presence is here. There is no factory here that employs people. There is nobody, but there's no what they call grant or loans given to us here. Look at the shoemakers there. They are toiling, trying to manage themselves, do everything themselves. No government grant or loan goes to those shoe manufacturers and bag makers. They do everything themselves. So by the time the person managed and toil and save some money, and you see him tomorrow, pushing some containers into Nigeria, you think that he may have broken one bank or the other. Just little toiling, patiently. So they should look at it from that angle.
All right. Talking about the reason for this, the Deputy Governor Ikechukwu Imeto lamented that condemned oil and chemicals being removed from vehicles, pose threats to the asphalted roads in Abia. He said that many drainages in Abia were being blocked by disused motor parts as stenchy chemicals, and that is why this thing must be done now. Just like democracy said, I'm coming back to you, comrade, just like democracy said, and then is this the right time to do this? And what is the level of education given to these people who are going to move over there? Yeah. And what are the other arrangements that is following this?
Yes, thank you so much. You said, is it the right time to do it? It should have been done long ago, if you ask me. Yeah. Because we are talking about recovering Abia. Mm. Nobody has a quarrel with that, you understand? Or even a case against that. Having listened to democracy, I think I second all he has said. It's a simple thing. We want to decongest this town. We want to bring this town back to what it used to be. We want to recover the town. You have no business having some of these things are toxic chemicals that ordinarily will even reduce the life expectancy of people around where you have those workshops. Yeah. It's not just only about chemicals. Some of those chemicals have spoiled and are not good again to be inhaled. So the inhalation causes harm. They are toxic. Some of the times they also clog the gutters and then the canals and the drainage. There are some saying now. And then other times they may even contribute to ozone layer depletion. A lot of things happen. We understand all of this. But like we have been saying, let it have a human face. Then coming to your question, there was no education whatsoever. To me, what I mean by education is using the appropriate ministry. It must not necessarily be the governor. Using the appropriate ministry to organize a town hall where these sector players, where you have what we call multi-stakeholder approach. You bring the media, you bring the players in the industry, you bring government people from maybe 2 or 3 ministries, may cover for government, the Ministry of Commerce and then Trade, Industry, it could be Ministry of anything, you understand? Then let's have that dialogue that we are moving you to this cluster, to form this cluster, so that one, you do not have much impact, environmental impact on residential areas. 2, that your business also does what? Helps in what we call development overlap. Because when you move these people, other small factories will thrive there. Maybe dealers in spare parts will now start coming close, because you are talking about a mechanical workshop or mechanical workshops that will actually thrive on doing what? Buying spare parts. So maybe spare parts market may start coming in. Food vendors may also start coming in. A lot of things. The little time you just remove them. A food vendor this morning told me that, let go to Ozode. I want the mechanic. And do I go back with my food? So it is having a ripple effect on the economy somehow. It's not just about, because just like you said, small scale businesses include food vendors. So there are people within the value chain who may be affected in one way or another. And that is why this kind of awareness, the awareness of what is being done, ought to be there. You understand? The enlightenment to what is being there, is being done, ought to be there on the part of the people, so that the people will buy in. You now get their buy-in to move willingly. They say, we are obeying government law. That was what actually is lacking, because every mechanic person I actually had the privilege of talking to is lamenting, is saying they are removing us to make it look like it's just evacuation or forced removal. But what it should be is what? Changing the narrative, recovering the city.
All right, before we go on a very short break and come back, democracy, it's also good to look at this. We know that the role of every public relations person or personality in government is to ensure that people is aware of what the government is about. They are given first-class information so that they will not be taken unawares. Do you think we have such in this state?
Well, it is very poor, just like I was discussing with the corporate manager commercial of Abia Power yesterday night, and I told him that there is this, what I can call this practice that is very funny. A situation where you come into Abia to invest billions of naira, and you don't get real Abia people to help you manage it. Everybody in that organigram of leadership in those companies are all, new entrants into Abia, including the public relations manager. You can imagine somebody living in Port Harcourt coming here to manage the PR of an environment you don't know. You don't even know their language. You don't even know the language you understand. The things you tell them and they will mellow. You just come and you go to radio and speak all manner of technical grammars, and they'll be asking, that is the problem. So I advise them that, but just like you said, kind of enlarged stakeholders, bring everybody to the table, let's start talking, engage. We have over 7 radio stations in Abia. And tell me this morning, how many public awareness jingles you heard about ASEPA, you heard about Abia Power, you heard about this thing that is going on, you heard about the what do you call it, the harmonized tax force and all of that. They don't have these things. Growing up, here, the IBC of this world, very early in the morning, those very interesting jingles that will make you know that there is government. There are do's and don'ts there. But we don't have them here. All you hear is all congratulating the governor. He has done what Napoleon could not do. Good and fine, it's good. But it has taken over the airwaves. It's not about congratulating from the traditional rulers, from religious leaders, from those that are looking for appointments, and all of that. Nobody talks about, using effectively these media platforms to create awareness. That is what they should start doing. We'll have Abia State Orientation Agency. Yeah. We'll have Minister of Information. We'll have Press Secretary to the government, to the governor. We'll have PROs in all the ministries. You can't for one day open the radio state and hear what they're saying about a particular project, a particular issue, a particular policy. No way. You just come in, do one or two things, pay little money to these radio stations. You understand? Because they buy gas. They have staffers to take care of, and they'll help you or get some, on-air personalities and, do some little PR. And at the end of the day, they'll help you push this. But they are not doing enough at all. What they do is just, anybody think they want to enforce, they just run into the police station, just like Abia Power used to do, get the policemen and soldiers that their mothers and their family members are having 24-hour light, and they pay 2,000 naira a month. They bring them to go and enforce and get money, force people to pay their bills and all of that. And what I ask them when they come to where I live is, in your village office, your mother have light, isn't it? And she pays 2,000 naira a month. People are saying that the bill we are paying is more than our salary, is more than our house rent. You can't even contemplate where you earn less than 30,000 naira a month, and you pay about 20,000 or 15,000 naira in your flat, and you are giving 100 or something thousand naira to. You have to ask questions, for goodness sake. But had it been that the authorities up there sat down with the people, tell them what happened, how they arrived at that, and how to cushion the effect, there couldn't have been this trouble here. So
all right, we are not going to see that as insensitive at the part of the government, no. But I think this public relations aspect of it is very, very important. Public relations is not all about image making. It is also about information to the right people at the proper time. And then, how many times since December 2023, when the deputy governor made this announcement, it would have been enough time to have educated those people, the Abia mechanics and also the auto part dealers. But until now, nothing. Until now that they are being bullied to go over there. We are going to go on a very short break. When we come back, issues of the moment, we'll continue. Please don't go away. We'll be back soon. Our wonderful viewers, I'm glad you're still there. And we are still on the program Issues of the Moment. We are looking at the relocation of Abia mechanics and the auto parts dealers, also in Abia, to Ovom in Obingba local government area, where they have a place meant for them. At this second segment, we are looking at the task force they are using to enforce this. If the people who are directly involved had been well informed concerning this, are they supposed to use that? Don't just choose the local vigilantes. They are not using even the normal police. I wouldn't know how to put it, but I think the analyst in the house will maybe put it properly. And then they are using the men referred to as the ROS. And their performance in Abia Basede here is becoming something else. As we move on this program, I will be opportune to call on the PPRO who may help and enlighten us the more about ROS, the one that we have in Abia here. Honorable Democracy, let me start with you this time. Now that we're talking about this relocation, are they supposed to be enforced with the people of ROS?
Well, it's unfortunate, that the job descriptions are no longer followed, in carrying out functions, particularly for those in government. Ethics and professionalism, has been swept under the, carpet. If not, the function of that very police outfit, RRS, to the best of my knowledge, is all about. It's under the Commissioner of Police. Their purview is just to tackle criminal, activities. But I don't know what has made forcing or engaging the mechanics to go to where a designated area for them, what it has to do with, those whose function is to, get the society crime-free. So it's another thing, just that, just like I said earlier, here we are traders. We are just crude traders, and we are not litigants. We don't believe in what goes on in the court. Everybody's busy. We pray too much. It's all about if anybody steps on your toes, whether hard or soft, you will resign to fate and tell God to go and retaliate. God will judge you. My God will judge you. You will, that is a problem here. If had it been we are like the Westerners and the Yorubas who believes in court processes and doing the right thing, where somebody can sue somebody over just a threat to beat him, and he'll take you to court and tell you that that hand you raised caused some, medical issues in his body chemistry. And then you go to court and get a lawyer and tell the court why you wanted to slap him. But yeah, somebody will slap you and even break your head. Somebody will destroy your things, your property, and all of that, infringe on your rights excessively. You will only go to prayers and say, oh, God will pay you back. If not, the mechanics should have been in court now, demanding that the right thing should be done. But our problem here is also where the executive has also hijacked everything, both the legislature and judiciary. You can't be sure where to run to. So
All right, our wonderful listeners, sorry for that little break. All right, we've tried getting on the PPRO of Abia State Police Command, and unfortunately, maybe she's too busy to have taken this call. And having said that, we'll continue. Comrade, considering what is happening with this relocation of Abia mechanics and auto parts dealers, do you think it is proper for the use of these force with RROS?
Okay, well, you must also understand the relationship that is happening. What we're dealing with here is just, it should be government to people. I believe, I am convinced, I am of the opinion that the police is part of executive arm of government and is there to ensure civil compliance. But when there is non-compliance, is when to enforce civil compliance you may bring the police in. I do not know whether there have been a sort of resentment or resistance on the part of the mechanics, for which you may say you need to bring in the police. I believe that writing ought to be done, but there are certain measures you may take at the first instance or at the first moment. It becomes a sort of overkill. I believe in proportionality. Whatever is being done should be proportional. Now, should be the time, it should be ample time for government to talk to these persons, to even give timeline, or to even say you don't stay beyond this date. Failing which we might have to involve whomever. So I do not think it is yet time to bring in these persons. Not that we cannot bring them in when there is failure to comply, but using it as the first line of alternative may be wrong. So I may not know, I may not be correct, but I do not know the level of conversation that may have happened. I do not know whether there was a timeline. I do not know whether there was also a warning from the government saying you must go over there. Then my own input is this: we cannot have all these persons in that place alone. I think the congestion should also have other alternatives. There should be other places where they can actually go to, not only this place, so that this decongestion will actually achieve.
Hello, good day, sir. Yeah, please, I'm calling you from Living Television. We are on live. We are dealing with the program, this relocation of Abia mechanics, and we learned you are in a better position to talk to Abians and Abia. Yes, thank you very much. Well, that's the man in charge of this relocation, and then he said they are busy in a meeting. I will want to talk to us some other time. Well, that's the much we can take in the calls. The PPRO is equally busy, and the Commissioner for Industry also couldn't talk to us. All right. So from what you're saying,
yeah,
just about a few days ago, this group of task force RROS had to impound on a vehicle that is in a garage, in a mechanic garage, even while the owner of the vehicle was there. While arresting the mechanic, forcing him to go over there, they also impounded on the vehicle and made away with the vehicle. And even while the owner, a lawyer for that matter, said, I have things in the boot, can you allow me to take the things in the boot? And they refused and made away with the vehicle. What would you say?
I think it is wrong at that point of trying to impound a vehicle. One, we should also ask the question, because and this is why we need this communication. Is it part of their duty to impound vehicles in the first place? One, what type of vehicle are they to impound? You understand? Now, if you are impounding and you impound, does the person, the owner of the vehicle, still reserves the right to say, I want to have some of my properties? It could be clothes, it could be things like laptop, gadget equipment, it could be anything. Say, I want to have access to my property or to my personal effects. So that's where the problem is. We all have to talk about this. Things like this should be state laws gazetted, so that we know what punitive measures will actually be meted up or out on someone who may go against the law. It ought to be captured as the state law going forward. And like I did say before, whether it is a state law as enacted by the State House of Assembly I have yet to confirm or to tell. So what I believe is having this dialogue that makes this policy have a human face, so that it doesn't look as if it's a victimization. This is a very popular government we are dealing with, a government that was supported and voted for overwhelmingly by people like the mechanics, people like the pensioners, people like even workers, government workers, and what have you. So I think it should also run inclusive government, a proper government, the way it has been trying to do. Thank you.
All right, talking about this, and then we also discovered that the person, the owner of the vehicle, who is equally a lawyer, is making an attempt to go to court to make sure that these things are properly addressed.
It's not about this one person. Then what about others?
This one, we are able to know this because
there are those who do not even have access to the media,
Exactly.
who don't even know about their rights to even enforce any, or even to begin to approach the courts in the first instance. So what we should be doing is to talk about enlightening Abians. But then it's unfortunate. Nobody should be made to suffer consequences that may not be proportional, or that may not be proportional to whatever crime or whatever offense they are being charged with.
Okay. Democracy.
Yeah.
We are talking about a vehicle that this relocation committee moving around with men of the Nigerian police, a branch of the RROS, impounding a vehicle, and not just arresting the mechanic in his workshop, but also impounded the vehicle that the guy is working on. And even when the owner of the vehicle was around there and asked them, please, this is my vehicle, let me have my vehicle, they said no. And the RROS man even cocked his gun, almost ready to shoot, when he now left, because James Hadley just said he's only a fool that fights a man with a gun. And then he left, and he said, please, can I take the things that they put? And they said no, and went away with the vehicle. What do you think about this?
Well, the best approach here is to, just like you said, to be civil. Don't fight a man with a gun, not to talk of a man with a gun and empty stomach. So that is a society. We don't try that. You can see that our security men here are all angry and hungry. Their welfare is not well taken care of. So that's why they are doing what they do on the road shamelessly without bothering who is watching. Because if you see the way they mount the road and collect money left, right, and center, they have their big pockets down, and they're not bothering whether the international community, foreigners are around to take pictures and mess us up in the media space. They are not bothered because they are very angry, because no sane man will do that. Because most times you ask yourself, do they know that people are watching them? Do they know that there are cameras everywhere? So if you look at such man and he's with a gun, you best respect yourself. That's the best thing you have to do, and follow a civil path. What anybody that is treated that way should do, we should learn how to go to court. We should learn how to hire lawyers and go to court. And lawyers here should also help us in doing some kind of pro bono here, so that we can make people to be legally aware. We have to legally sensitize our people, make people know that there are dangers in actions you take. Either as a landlord exploiting your tenant, either as a tenant trying to make your landlord, look like he has taken your talent, and that's why you're not doing well. Then even there you can behave anyhow and treat him anyhow, talk to him anyhow, and all of that. As a policeman, that you can end up in court, and that uniform will leave you. As a politician holding a public office, we can also bounce on you after leaving that office. A whole community bounce on a former governor. But here you don't do that. Everybody is, continue to say. So until we come out of that, nothing will change. So what anybody that is suffering this thing should do immediately is to head to the court and get those involved in this thing to know that just like we got an injunction stopping our power the other day, and they are still there. Discouraged. And people are keeping quiet. They are calling me, oh, where are you? Tell them about them, please come. Tell them that there is a court injunction stopping them. Orongo, right, to wait until that order is vacated. And hold one of them and invite the police to arrest them. The matter will start from there. Just hold one person with ladder, with their vehicle, block them, call the police, call media men, and we'll now tag them lawbreakers. We'll start from there. So that is the situation here. We have to, start thinking about how to be legal, how to, be litigants, be a troublemaker legally.
All right, because of our time and want of time, just like a comrade said here, there are some of them who may not be opportune or maybe do not know how to go about it, either got to go to court. But the one we're talking about, the example we just cited here, concerns a lawyer whose vehicle was impounded by the relocation committee, with the policemen attached to them, the RROS, who cocked his gun and was ready to shoot until he had to give up and only begged that he would take whatever thing that he had left in the booth, cameras and so on, because he's also a media man, and they refused. And then what about those who cannot go to court, who cannot afford the bills of lawyers?
That's what I'm talking about, pro bono. Lawyers should volunteer to do this.
And I think we also have the legal aid council, and they are there in the Ministry of Justice.
Even the legal aid council, I've been a victim. They also collect money.
Even if you, because even if you're talking about litigation and you are to be prosecuted, you are before the public prosecution, yes. And then you don't have money to pay for lawyer. The state will give you a lawyer.
Outside that too, I think it is also important on the part of the government to do something about this.
Exactly.
Create this public relations awareness. Have people that will go from town hall meetings and educate these mechanics, these urban mechanics, and these spare part dealers. Educate them. Tell them why you want. Let them know the importance of relocating them. Let them not see it as being punished because they do not have money. How many roadside mechanics can afford 200,000 naira for a shop?
Not talk of how much.
Not talk about 1.5 million naira. So that's what we're just talking about. It is important they will be given this orientation, and so that before problem. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we'll be drawing the curtain today. From my right, I still have Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade, thank you for being part of
the greater pleasure is mine.
And Democracy, Honorable Tony Abanyam, thank you for coming to the program.
Yes, viewers, pray for me so that I'll finish my law degree, so that I'll do a pro bono for you all. If you are pushed to the wall, just run to me. But what I need is your prayers so that I'll have enough resources to finish my law degree, so that we'll put things right here. Thank you.
All right, and this is your anchor man, Chinedum Godson Adiela. Until we come your way again, remember this is Living Television. We will always keep you posted with the happenings, not just in Abia State, but in Nigeria and in general. Thank you for being part of this program. Bye for now.